had 13 rebounds. Brunson finishes with 32 and 5 assists, and the Knicks stay alive. 111-94 is the final. There will be a Game 6 tomorrow night in Indianapolis. And with their performances last night, Brunson and Towns became the second pair of teammates to score 20 points in each of the first 5 games of a conference finals, joining Shaq and Kobe, who did it in 2002 against Sacramento. The Lakers, by the way, would win that series in 7. Here was Brunson afterwards, asked if he felt he needed to outplay Halliburton.
I need to play better than him. I was just thinking I need to help my team win. And that's my mindset every time I'm on the court, just helping my team win.
Every game is do or die, you know. So we don't bring that energy, we don't bring that execution, our season will be over.
Okay, Jay Will, first reaction.
That team that we saw last night, where Karl Anthony Towns is aggressive, Jalen Brunson setting the tone, quarters 1 through 3, defensively picking up Tyrese Halliburton full court, turning him multiple times, taking the air out of the ball. That team's defensive performance and taking care of the rock is not only the reason why they have a chance to win this series, but that gives them the fighting shot against OKC. I will still have OKC favored, but if that team shows up, that will give them their best odds to compete for a world championship. The question is, I don't know which team is going to show up. That's what happens. I'm not sure which team is going to show up in Game 6.
They don't either.
Let me get the Windman in here for the first time this morning. Windy, you were making the point yesterday. The Knicks' problems were not on the offensive end of the floor. It was the defensive side. And obviously, they hold the high-scoring Pacers to 94 last night. What did you see?
It was a completely different reality for Tyrese Halliburton in this game. He ran downhill like he was in a pickup game in Game 4. Last night, totally different, whether it was Mikal Bridges picking him up at half court or beyond. But I want to highlight Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson defensively has been an absolute bullseye for the Pacers in this series. And the way he played last night, up on guys, going over the top of screens, not allowing himself to be easily moved out of the way. Look, he's never going to be a great defensive player, but he can fight on defense. He fought on defense in this game. He played like he was facing elimination. And the big number, look at this between what they shot against him as the primary defender in the first 4 games versus last night. So not only was that when he would switch on to Halliburton, he eliminated Aaron Nesmith in this game. He was 5 of 5 against him on offense, and on defense, Nesmith he made it real much harder on him. A total team leader, superstar performance at both ends.
Because that's what the Knicks did last night. And that's been their hallmark. That's what I expected them to do. Would it work to the degree it did? Not necessarily. But they fought. First possession of the game, sitting with Jay Will, and he notices how the Knicks fight Halliburton. They pick him up 3/4 court, the first possession. The fight that Jalen Brunson demonstrated in taking control of the game. This is like a prize fight. The Knicks knew, and Brunson knew, that diagnosis was, gotta get control of this game early. What have the Knicks been doing? Falling behind, not having control, letting Boston get control of the series in the game, letting Indiana get control. Didn't do that last night. Now, it's not just which team will show up for me, Alan. I get what you're saying. Which Indiana team is going to show up? Are they going to fight? Are they going to feel and play with that kind of desperation back at home? Are they going to meet the Knicks when it comes to aggression? Because they didn't last night. The Knicks got on top of them, and again, like a prize fight, stayed there and controlled the action. Is that going to happen again tomorrow?
I'll continue on the prize fight theme, because being by the Pacer bench for most of the game, what I noticed was they understood desperation. They're going to come out swinging. Just get through the early part with the emotion and the physicality. Hang around. That's all they kept talking about. Keep it close, hang around. It had a very much Game 1 feel to it, where the Knicks came into that game. They were up 17. The crowd's going crazy. And the Pacers hung around. Let's get this thing to 10, and we put pressure on them. They haven't been good at home. And I think the Pacers, from what I saw and seen a lot of their conversations on the bench, that's all that was just, we'll get through this, just hang around. And in the third quarter, Ben Mathurin almost had that happen. Cut it to 10, cut it to 11.
They anticipated it. They thought I don't know if voice was given to it. I suspect it was. I'm told it was. They thought the Knicks would have more fight for sure than Cleveland had.
Yeah.
Once down, more than Milwaukee had.
Well, remember, Cleveland was up big in Game 5.
Expected the Knicks to have that fight, and they got it.
Mike and I were on the floor doing SportsCenter, and we got a chance to see some people very close to Karl Anthony Towns. And the consensus we both walked away was, we're not sure he's going to play. Like, we don't know what's going on right now. That's right before the game.
He had the banged-up knee from Game 4.
I just want to say, for the record, I didn't see any, foul. I didn't see any of that kind of thing last night. I saw a grown-ass man and Karl Anthony Towns that played through injury that since Game 3 in the fourth quarter has been unguardable. That's who he was last night, and he got the best version of himself. He just deserves a round of applause playing through that injury and attacking the rim. Attacking the rim.
Why are they playing him one-on-one still? It's still at the top. They still, like you've seen a lot of the highlights here where you're just seeing it's a lot of one-on-one. Now his putbacks and a lot of things he did at the rim, he's facing 3 or 4 different guys, draw some fouls, but
also not that nobody's stepping in to take charges on him.
Yeah, but watch here, this is all one-on-one. Obi Toppin is 100 pounds lighter. He has no chance guarding.
The Pacers didn't play with any particular resolve.
No, they denied.
They just didn't. Now, you know what happens. Sometimes you let go. It is. Because sometimes you can't get that back. You can't regain that in 48 hours. So the question for the Pacers will be, I know what they said.
Yeah.
They said all the right things about going home and doing this. But when you're playing a team that has found its fight, what happens tomorrow?
But also, Mike, their defense is predicated on their offense. That's a lot how the Pacers play, right?
It is.
Pace, see the ball go in. It creates energy. They didn't have that because they didn't have the offense.
So, Wendy, help me answer the impossible question. Where does this series sit right now? Beyond the score, which, of course, is 3-2 Pacers going home. One would normally think, okay, going home, Game 6, you have the advantage. You have it right where you want it. But it's been such an every game has been such an unusual outcome. How do you step back and see the big picture of this series right now?
Well, I think these teams are almost impossible to separate. I mean, I think the Knicks have actually outscored the Pacers by 6 points in this series, and I think it could go any which way. I know that that's not a hard-hitting analysis, but obviously the Knicks could be up 3-2 had they won Game 1. But the reason I bring that up is because I think the Knicks absolutely are right there. They could absolutely win these next 2 games. The big thing to me was the Pacers scored 36 fewer points in Game 5 than they did in Game 4. And how do you do that? You do that by not turning the ball over, keeping Halliburton off the glass, and slowing him down. If the Knicks can stick to that game plan, it opens everything up for them. They can beat this team playing in the half court. If they turn it into a track meet, I don't think they can beat them. But they've repeatedly proved that they can get that traction. So I agree that it's going to. I will say this about the Pacers: the last 2 years they've had these long playoff runs. They've been the underdog in all of them. They were never expected to get here. Well, now they're the favorite. And now they're the favorite going on their home court in a game that they are expected to win. I want to see how they handle that.
Three-and-a-half-point favorite tomorrow night in the critical Game 6, their chance to head to the NBA Finals. Which side of it do you like?
2 words: Pacers big.
I'd lay the 3.5. I'd play the alt lines up to -10. I think it's a double-digit victory. What you got to understand is what we saw last night was a historically bad spot for the Pacers. You're up 3-1. You're on the road trying to close it out. Teams struggle in that spot, and they struggle big. Look no further than the previous round of the playoffs when the Knicks were up 3-1 going to Boston. No Jason Tatum. They get shellacked, and then they come back and win big in Game 6 at home. What happened last night that's going to be sustainable from then until Saturday? Jalen Brunson's best shooting performance of the entire playoffs. Not happening again. Pascal Siakam's shooting performance of the entire playoffs. Not happening again. Tyrese Halliburton's worst